This is the County Fair podcast, where fair influencers share their valuable insights, strengthening and growing the long-lived tradition of the County Fair. This episode is brought to you by ShoWorks. ShoWorks fair entry software has set the gold standard for fairs across the United States and Canada for more than 20 years, serving more than 75% of the country's fairs. ShoWorks is a place to handle fair entries, billings, payouts, and the incorporation of virtual elements into your show and auction. Visit www.fairsoftware.com to learn more. Well, hello. Welcome to this episode of the County Fair Podcast. I'm your host, Jeffrey Palermo. And before we get into it, today's scripture is from Acts 1:7. Jesus said to them, "The times and occasions are set by my Father's own authority, and it is not for you to know when they will be." And we have an interesting guest for today, all the way from California, from the California Mid-State Fair, Ricky Brown, and he's one of the exhibits director for the fair, and he's with me today on the show. Ricky, how are you, sir?
Doing all right, Jeff. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for coming on and talking with me today. California Mid-State, that's a pretty big operation you guys have going on the West Coast, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And I guess I never really realized it until last year, in all honesty, how big we are. You kind of just get in the flow and things happen as they happen. And then obviously, like a lot of fairs, last year happened and you're kind of sitting there looking around, wondering, thinking, just, realizing some things as well. And one of them I realized is just how big we actually are. Couple years in already for myself, but I'm just now realizing it.
Now, what section or what divisions of the fair do you primarily focus on? So
I primarily, I'm involved obviously with our competitive exhibits. That's kind of primary. And then we have we refer to them as beverage competitions. We have an amateur wine, an amateur beer, but then we also have 4 commercial competitions: olive oil, vinegar, spirits, and wine. So I primarily deal with the entry side of those, registration, ShoWorks, that side of it. And then I also deal kind of with the entries and some of the judging and stuff like that as well for majority of them. And then, like I said, still exhibits, kind of help oversee that, and then kind of just help wherever else really. But it's it's always growing between competitive exhibits and then the beverage competitions as well. So just trying to keep a hold on those. Those are kind of the main departments.
Yeah.
Try to, basically just help wherever I can when I'm not running around dealing with those.
Now, the California Mid-State Fair is one of those fairs that's grown well beyond the core of the agricultural entries and the animals and the FFA and the 4-H kids and everything, where you have divisions for almost everything under the sun. What's unique about the beverage entries that people think, oh, I'm going to enter a pig or a set of chickens or a steer. Everybody's familiar with that, but what's unique around your divisions and what entices people to kind of make an entry of those types?
It honestly, I'd say it kind of varies, obviously, with just kind of, like you said, kind of what you're trying to enter, really. I mean, our area is, again, like you said, agriculture is very important here in the area. So obviously livestock, the little I deal with livestock, which I'm always learning more about that every day. It obviously brings in the kids, which is great. That's kind of our big want to support for sure. But then, our beverage competitions, our county, San Luis Obispo County is pretty big and well known, or it's getting to be big. It's always growing, I should say, excuse me. as far as wine goes. So that's always a big draw with the area. And then, we always get a good amount of entries from obviously our local wineries, but then at the same time, we have that spread out a little bit further, kind of, Santa Barbara County, Monterey County, we kind of go north and south a little bit for those, but that's always a big draw with a lot of folks. And like I said, the area is growing with wine and even olive oil. That's always a huge draw too. Just it's becoming, you can't really drive down the 101 north or south and not catch someone's, olive production. The distillery, that's kind of a unique one as well for us. We're only a couple of years into that one, but the area itself is producing a lot more distilleries. So that's always, pretty unique with us and, the beverage competitions in general. So just trying to figure out what's, how's the area, what's making the area grow, and trying to see if we can add that into the fair involve, those folks with the fair and try and produce hopefully some, long lasting relationships and being able to kind of work back and forth with each other.
Yeah. Yeah. Are there any lessons from the tumultuous last season that you think have strengthened the fair? What are you going to carry forward, to this season and beyond, you think, from
that's a good question. It's strange. We went, I don't want to say things are, routine around here, but it definitely, everyone kind of has the certain things they do at certain periods of time during the year. And then, March happened in 2020 and it just kind of, I think, struck everyone like, hold on. So like, do we not do what we're doing?
Right.
So I think everyone kind of learned some lessons like individually as far as what they'll take. For me individually, I definitely am going to try to slow myself down for this year. That's always been a big one, just moving a little too fast for the job and the things that I do. I want to try to get, I guess it doesn't necessarily answer your question, but one of the things, I'm always trying to get better at what I do. And last year it kind of gave me some time. We were lucky to where we still were able to work. We didn't have obviously a ton going on, but we had enough to where we were still able to, come in or work from home and kind of do some things. A couple competitions happened, but overall, one big thing for me is just trying to slow myself down. I know that's not exciting or anything like that, but it's one of those, this industry, it moves fast and there's a lot of people who maybe could say the same thing. I don't know.
That the slow and steady wins the race instead of fast and hectic.
Yeah, exactly. Someone told me one last year when we were kind of moving slow, work smarter, not harder type of thing. And I think as a whole with the fair, again, I don't want to speak for my colleagues, but I feel like just communication with each other and just being a team. We all obviously work for the greater good of, trying to produce the fair and obviously everything involved in that. But when you kind of all are in the same boat of, man, what do we do? How do we do it? You really realize, okay, the folks you work with are, they're not just people you have a desk by or, see at the meeting table once a week or whatever for staff meetings. It's, they're the people you want to be able to turn to and, have, you want to be there for them and you want them to be there for you. And when you need help and being able to communicate that, I think, and maybe that's more individually, but I think as a whole too, I think we all kind of realize like we're a pretty good group as long as we stick together. And that's, right, I think, a huge one that I'm definitely taking and moving forward with. And I would think the others I work with are taking that as well. Just, as a whole, when it comes to, producing the fair this summer, and which we're thankful to be doing, and then, moving forward.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. Now, given that you work in the competitive entry space and the wines, olive oil, all the different beverages, in some ways, it's not like an animal that has to be raised and then brought to fair at the exact right time. But at the same time, you still have some of that, because you obviously don't want to have multi-year-old olive oil being entered into the fair or wine. So people are still timing their entries. They're still planning to have their entry at the right time. But what goes into the judging of those types of entries at the California Mid-State Fair?
It's kind of like the competitions themselves. It's unique. I'm not a big wine guy in general, individually or, outside of work. So it's always interesting to see what people are entering, I guess, more just to, I'm always learning when it comes to those things. And like I said, livestock too, kind of learning how folks, deal with their animals and the steps they take to make sure their animal's ready to go for fair. Similar, obviously, like you said, with the wine and olive oil, they judge those things a little, well, I don't know if little is the right word, but they definitely judge them both differently. The olive oil is a lot of, the way I've understood it is, oh shoot, what's the term I'm looking for? There's a term they use, the judges, and it always kind of like takes me back a little bit.
Viscosity?
So I apologize.
One of those weird words.
Yeah, just one of those ones that it's kind of specific for them. That
I don't know. I think I'd want to fry an egg with their olive oil and see how it tastes.
See, right? And that's kind of what myself and my colleagues, that's kind of what we're always thinking when we're there, when they're judging, like, man, this is, because it's a unique process of how they do it. And it's, I don't want to sound like I'm talking bad, because it's obviously, we appreciate the judges that do, but it's kind of I guess I'd call it a slurp test, or, like there's some of that involved kind of with wine, how you kind of swirl it and the aroma and you smell and, swirl it around, whatnot. It's, with olive oil, it's kind of similar, but in its own unique fashion. The wine, like I said, it's, it's got its own, like I said, swirl and just all sorts of different things involved before they can actually taste it. And then, some of the terms that I hear judges use when they're judging that stuff, and you're just like, that, you got that out of that. And it's always a little interesting. Like, okay, well, I guess that's why you're the expert and you're here and I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to set it up, but it's always, and we're always trying to set the competitions up. I know you kind of asked about judging, but it's always interesting too. We try to set kind of our competitions up with kind of the right times as well. So they're comfortable entering, their most recent things at the right time, because it's, I know last year, obviously, when, things in March kind of got basically shut down. Normally our olive oil competition, we usually do the beginning of April. We didn't do that last year till I think it was beginning of July, maybe. Just, we had entries and stuff, and we were just trying to figure out a good time to where we could do it. We got lucky, we're able to do it, but doing it at a different time, it's, you got to think about the producers and what they're looking to enter and hoping to enter. And we're hoping to obviously make sure we are doing them justice by doing it at the right time. in our wine, we normally do that in the middle of June. So we're kind of getting ready for it here for this year. But last year it just wasn't feasible at the time. So we pushed it back. We did it in October last year, but even that was kind of tough to set up because it's at that time here, it's, their harvest. They're busy with harvest. So it's, trying to, like I said, trying to just do them right and still obviously for our sake, be able to get, a good amount of entries. Cause obviously that's how we run. That's what we run off. Right. So just trying to do it at the right times, and like I said, the judgings, we're just, trying to get the right people that know the products, know the items. And I guess that kind of goes across the board. So it's just the ways are like, they're different for sure.
Well, speaking of entries, how have the entry volumes bounced back this year versus last?
It's interesting. I guess with, our olive oil has stayed about the same, which it's at a good number. It's usually around, I want to say, sorry, I see so many numbers. Sometimes I forget. What was olive oil this last year? I think it was between maybe 80 and 90. I could be wrong, but that's actually kind of stayed the same. Obviously with the olive oil, it kind of is, in a sense, from what I understand, based on, rain, and that and how their crop, how it grows. So thankful enough, we've had some good years, and we were told for 2022, it was a good year. So hopefully we're expecting probably more than that as far as entry count goes. The wine competitions and the other, beverage competitions, those have declined a little bit. I think last year it obviously threw a lot of wineries, especially for a loop, and what they could and couldn't do. And, in talking with a lot of folks that, I've gotten to know over the years just from entering and stuff, money to competitions, it just wasn't there. And we understand that, it's obviously, like I said, we run off of entry counts, give or take, yep. The more the merrier. But at the same time, we understand when, last year was tough on not just the fair industry, but the wine industry, spirits, vinegar, olive oil, anything that, requires the public to play a part in.
And for the youth, entering something into a fair is all about learning and having a new experience. But then for all the businesses, it's marketing. It's building their brand. Exactly.
And without a competition, it's a little tough for a lot of them to, make that worth their while, I guess would be the easiest way to say it.
Sure.
And this year we're lucky enough to where we're working towards doing our fair, and we try to incorporate our all our competitions one way or another, but our wine one specifically with different tastings and stuff like that. So we try to have some different avenues for marketing and make it worth their while. So a lot of we got a lot of wineries this year that have entered, so that's looking forward to that here in the next week. And then competitive exhibits, obviously last year was tough. I hate referencing last year, but it's, it's kind of our,
I don't
want to say we're starting over.
It impacted everybody.
Yeah. Right.
Everybody's in the same boat.
We changed to do, we did a virtual with competitive exhibits, which went well. I think went actually maybe a lot better than we thought it was going to, just for the sake of, because like you said a little bit ago, it's, a lot of people, especially when it comes to competitive exhibits, youth especially, because that's, a good amount of entries come from the youth. They do it, and their parents want them to do it and work with them to do it to get the fair experience, to be able to enter something, and then basically, be able to come to the fair and see it and see the ribbon and whatnot. And it's without a fair, obviously you don't get that at all. So
right.
it was a little tough with entry count last year. And, but like I said, that was expected, the way we were going about it with doing it virtually. Still had a good turnout, but it's, this year we're kind of starting to sort through entry counts and stuff with competitive exhibits. And it's certainly not back. It doesn't necessarily match 2019, but it's on its way up, which is good. And we have, our county, our community is, there's a lot of folks that are all about entering with us, and we appreciate them, especially now. So it's nice to see, the names come through and still see them entering as much stuff as they used to. And I think too, a lot of people had time on their hands to where they could, create something new or try this recipe and see what comes of it. And I think that's, that'll be kind of unfolded here as we get into entries showing up and judging's happening.
ShoWorks Auction is taking junior livestock shows and sales by storm. As the leader in integrated live and online auctions, there's a viable solution to enhance every fair. Check out www.fairsoftware.com today. For any other fair managers of any type that are really looking to maximize their entry numbers in kind of any category, are there any marketing techniques or any lessons that you've learned that you apply that are going to maximize the entries for whatever community is available in your area for a certain division?
No, it's interesting as we've gone over the last, what would I say, maybe 5 years or so, 6 years. We just trying to think. I think it was maybe 2017 that we went all online, or strictly online, excuse me. So that, I don't know how I would say it correctly, just the internet, I guess, in general, of, having that just kind of blow up with folks and us going all online, it kind of got to where we were kind of split on people, because for a long, we still have a lot of folks who have been entering with us for 20 plus years. So I guess, kind of coinciding with how you're asking about marketing and stuff, it's, with folks who don't necessarily use the internet or are as up to date, I guess, I don't mean that negatively or rudely, just people who aren't necessarily computer literate. It's gotten to be a little tough as far as being, reaching, I don't necessarily want to say everyone, but, the folks who used to enter with us, but then obviously the newer age folks, they have a pad with them at all times or a phone or something. So it's trying to develop, email blasts and just reaching out with our social media. That's a big thing in today's world in general, social media. So always trying to kind of keep news going that direction as well for the new age folks. We don't necessarily print physical handbooks anymore. That's kind of gone with everything else and online. So, but trying to do, it sounds kind of, I don't know if I'd say basic, but we create, I guess I'd say postcard size mailings. I know that's maybe not new age marketing for some, but, in order to keep the folks coming that, like I said, aren't maybe necessarily computer literate or, do the internet much, keeping in touch with them. That's, kind of a big thing we've tried to do is, okay, well, if they're not, really looking at a computer much, let's still, because more likely than not, they're still getting mail. So trying to get them something to where at least they see, and then, maybe they call us and then we can talk to them and kind of tell them where we're at, and, having having a place here if they need to come and enter, having computers here to where, just come on down. If you can't necessarily get on, we can help you. And that's kind of been a big thing. Well, I guess obviously again, can't say last year, but getting back to, I should say, to where we can have, some, I guess, comfort for those that maybe aren't necessarily comfortable with computers and stuff. Just trying to do both sides of it with, getting the word out and spreading the word, marketing the exhibits program. Yeah. Just social media, internet, email blast. But then, for the older school folks or just those, just trying to do mailers. And, there's folks who, like I said, have been doing it for 20 plus years. So, we try and call them directly just to let them know so they're aware and, keep them, feel like they're still a part of us and make sure, we want to know that they're still a part of us at the same time. So just trying to reach out. Kind of go back and forth on new school, old school, I guess you'd say. Okay.
Now, I know you're focused on the entry side. Are you involved with the prizes for each division?
I'm kind of myself and my colleague, we kind of deal with a lot of the awards and stuff with competitive exhibits and all the other competitions we deal with.
What kind of awards do you have set out for those competitive divisions that you manage?
So the competitive ones, we do. We always try to do something different every year for best of show, best in class, just to where it's a little more. Forget the word. So they feel a little bit more. I don't want to say a step above because it's we don't have any egos here, but just to where it's a little higher class, I guess, award. We try to do something different every year, just between, we've tried to do something along with our themes as well. We have some different theme classes and divisions that we always try to have kind of a theme award, even if it's just kind of classing up a nice ribbon. I mean, that's, kind of being specific about it to where it's, the folks, if they win one, they can take it, and when others see it in their home or something, it's, they know that's what they got it for. We do obviously our general stick ribbons and whatnot. And then just trying to be a little, I guess, flashy would be the term with some of our specific, divisions and classes. It's, we're always trying to create something new every year. Obviously we have general divisions and classes with all of our competitive exhibits, but at the same time, we're always trying to add something new or incorporate, if the happenings of the world at the time or just around here in the area.
Can you give some examples that you've reused recently?
And it's actually just because I always, and I probably think of it because I have one by my desk, but one year, a couple years back, one of our themes was beach related. So we did beach towels that were pretty specific, to that year. And so when you see it, you kind of know, okay, that was from then. Last year with our virtual shows, we didn't necessarily have, and I think I'm in the same boat as a lot of folks. We didn't necessarily have a big budget to spend on awards, but, we tried to do a cool, 2020 virtual show ribbon that, incorporated kind of our old logo as well to kind of bring some nostalgia back. And even with this year, we're kind of in the process, we're a little late, but trying to figure out kind of what awards we'll use for this year. It's our 75th anniversary. So trying to figure out what may work with that, and all things go involved in that with color and font and, just overall scheme. We're always, even with like our livestock awards, it's, we've, over the past couple of years, we've had a colleague who comes in during the summer. She's done a great job with kind of doing, different banners one year and doing some different totes. And she did this. I don't necessarily want to, it's like I don't want to call it a tin, but, just like a custom tin that, the kids can then use at home to carry things. And, we've done different backpacks and different styles of bags and like luggage carriers, luggage bags, stuff like that. Just things that,
nice.
With our logo, but then specific to the awards. That way, they can be proud when they're rolling through the airport or, rolling somewhere that, someone sees, oh, you won that at the California Mid-State Fair and that year, So we're always trying to be as specific as we can, just in general with what we put on the awards. But, we're always trying to think a little differently every year with, what, not just giving, the general ribbon and, the bag, having it be a different bag every year. Just, everything carries different things. And I know herself and myself and my colleague, we're always kind of looking at different fairs and seeing what kinds of things, and looking at different award companies and what they have out and what's the newest, and, what might work better or what we might think be a bigger hit than the next. So we have some similar stuff every year. But then we're always trying to do something a little different every year, just to make it a little more worthwhile for kids to come and enter and compete. Nice.
That was a lot of good ideas and a lot of good learning. As we close up here, are there any kind of ideas or changes that are going to carry forward for you into 2022 and beyond? That maybe the California Mid-State Fair is strengthened by the recent challenge.
It's I know obviously last year doing because we wanted to make sure we were supporting we still supported the kids for HFFA. So livestock, like a lot of fairs, we did virtually. I think we learned a couple different things on how that can maybe help us moving forward, with the online, being able, especially now they've come out with so many updates, since last summer with, the virtual stuff or the virtual side of ShoWorks that, we're going to take, I believe we're going to try and do, our add-ons this year virtually, as opposed to, people, we obviously want folks to be able to show up, and it sounds like they'll be able to for our auction this summer. But, the quick, easy add-ons that people try to add, to make it a little smoother for them and smoother for us, a little less paperwork as well. That's kind of one of the big things I can think of off the top of my head that we're going to move forward with after last year. I think this year it sounds very, very in our favor to where we'll be able to do some things in person, and that includes our auction, which we're thankful to be able to, we're thankful we were able to do it last year, and we're thankful to be able to do it again this year, knock on wood. But adding the add-ons to online, I think will help us out, like I said, with paperwork and then staffing as well. It's tough nowadays with folks trying, getting back into work and stuff like that. So we're always trying to figure out what can help us with what we got. The onlines, that's the online add-ons. That's going to be a huge thing that we're going to take. That's kind of the only big one I can really think of right now, honestly. Last year was like, again, I feel like I'm broken record, but like a lot of folks, we realized we had to do things different, and we did that, obviously, and we're grateful to be able that we had the support that we did through through the year with all of them, whether it be our virtual show or, the livestock auction, and our other, the wine competitions and stuff that we did. But, moving forward, I think we've learned, I should say, I don't want to necessarily say we know, but we've learned how to just kind of work with what we have. And, I think as a group, kind of like I was talking about in the beginning, as a group, I mean, we're pretty knowledgeable. We all kind of know what we need to do and how things need to be done. So I think, moving forward, a lot of in-house things with just the group I work with, I think we'll be moving forward with, which is great. And I think can only help us get better at producing the fair here. But shoot, yeah, to be honest, I think just internally a lot of things, but at the same time, the online add-ons for sure. And then I think we're just we'll see what we can and can't do as we go, and see if there's anything else that we need to take from last year. But it was just keep trying to move forward. Yeah. And just trying to learn as we go, in a sense, how to try to remember, I guess, how to do some of the stuff. But at the same time, maybe take a couple minutes instead of moving as quick as we normally do to try to figure out maybe an easier way to do things, or just maybe not easier, but simpler, or I don't know, just try to more productive, I guess, kind of like I was saying, work smarter, not harder. That's always a big thing.
Well, kudos to you and the California Mid-State Fair for refusing to cancel last season and going forward and just modifying what you needed to modify, and then coming on strong for the 2021 season and pushing forward. It's a great service that you guys do for your community. Yeah,
I appreciate it. Yeah, we're very grateful for the community that we have and the support. It's I probably can say I probably wouldn't be doing this with you right now if we didn't have the support that we do, or maybe it just be in a different fashion. Because last year we all definitely realized how much support, the California Mid-State Fair has with, the communities, and that goes with all the different industries as well in the area, agriculture, which kind of ties with everything, obviously, right here in SLO County, or San Luis Obispo County, excuse me. With, like I was saying, the wine, the animals, livestock, it's all intertwined. So we're thankful for everyone that continues to, support it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, hey, Ricky, thank you so much for coming on with me on the County Fair podcast and sharing kind of some of the things that you do, doing your competitive entries and beverage divisions at the California Mid-State Fair. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, Jeff. I appreciate the time.
Thank you for tuning into this episode of the County Fair podcast. Don't forget to subscribe, share with a friend, and tell us what you'd like to hear on the show by going to www.countyfairpodcast.com. And to you and yours, may God bless you.